let me introduce you to Jose Chroo.
What is this?
Any relation to Mourinho is unclear, but the goals and management are similar. Getting sacked to receive a massive payout. I'm thinking too far ahead. The ambition is to win a Champions League title with a Portuguese side within 8 seasons. On Twitch, we chose his team. It went from these 5 down to 3, then a runoff between Santa Clara and Boa Vista, and for most of the vote, it seemed like the Benfica looking badge would be the destination. Then, out of nowhere, Boa Vista made the most incredible comebacks, and in the last second, was chosen. Meaning, that is where everything begins. Now, the club with the checkered kits were once a very competitive team. They even made the UEFA Cup semi-final in 2003, the same year Mourinho won his. However, no trophy since 2001, but like we said, the loyalties aren't entirely tied down to this team. If there's an opportunity to go to the big boys and it's a clear step up, all that has to be said is, do it. The introduction to the squad could have been better. I guess they don't respect his past playing career. This season would begin in the Allianz Cup against Maritimo. What the fuck? Alright, well, maybe we can come back? Please, no. Oh my, we scored an own goal in the first game? Not an ideal start, but an equalizer would be found and the match was won on penalties. Another win in the Allianz Cup followed, sending the team up in the group stage. Yeah, this cup has a group stage after a knockout stage. Due to the lack of finances and being owned by the ever so controversial Jair Lopez, the only transfers were loans. That led to some guys leaving to get these across the line. Into the club was Bruno Rodriguez, who for the most part is a solid center defender and at least had more pace than Yavi Garcia. The other was Vasco Sosa from Porto, and with a 500k clause to purchase, this could be one that lasts beyond the season. On to the beginning of the league campaign. Because of being inspired by bus drivers such as Mourinho, the default formation was going to be a 5-back. In the back pocket, a more attacking version would be established. With the opener at Estoril, unlike the Allianz Cup, the beginning was in the checkered shirt's favor as Raul Silva got sent off in the 4th minute. So let's introduce you to Gustavo Sawyer. He would make an incredible impact, scoring a brace. For a side like this, he's out of this world, and you'll be hearing a lot more about him. The second match was a Twitch chat derby with Santa Clara, resulting in a defeat. I'm sure Boa Vista wasn't the wrong choice. Who the hell's Vizela? The beginning of the season was tough as we faced Braga, who are the best Portuguese team outside the big 3. It was 0-0 until Braga scored too late, giving us the L. Following that, despite Vasco Sosa scoring his first goal for the club, Tondela would strike back with 2, giving us another defeat. It can't get worse, right?
I prefer really not to speak.
The database of this save is from the 2022 winter transfers, so while in-game Darwin Núñez was sold to Newcastle, Benfica was still looking good. However, that meant a striker they would have in another universe wasn't there, and instead was with Boa Vista. Peter Musa is his name, and he's a classic target forward with a little bit of pace to him. On loan from Slavia Prague with a 3 million option to buy, he would open the scoring in the 8th minute. Benfica then decide to wake up, with Radonjic getting a goal in the 17th minute and assisting the fraud Seferovic in the 31st. You can see where this is going. Wait. Pause champ, let's go. Peter Musa, Gustavo, in behind to Musa for his 3rd. Let's go. Peter Musa with a hat-trick in the first half to Nathan to Musa. He's open on top of the box. Vasco Sousa makes a 4. What's going on? I don't know. We've got 4 goals. Benfica are in the mud. The coach's voice was going to get a great video in a few years' time. Until the inevitable. The counterattack now for Benfica. Nemanja gets him behind. No way he scores this. Oh, no. No! Are you kidding? That's tough. And the club was not in a good spot. Whenever you are in a situation like this, a good recommendation is to have a team meeting before a game you think you can win. With Gil Vicente in the Allianz Cup next, seemed like a great time. So in the dynamics, you go to the team meeting, tell the team that they can turn things around, and hopefully you click the right choice and the morale improves. That was needed because the form went our way. A win came against Gil Vicente, Moreirense gave us a late scare, while Famalicão was comfortable. Pastafaro did stop the winning in the league, causing another bump in the road. Despite positivity in the Taça de Portugal 3rd round, a Maritimo draw occurred after, and Nakajima's Portimonense brought back the L. In big part to the 40-year-old goalkeeper Bracali, who was doing something. 11th after 11 matches, which isn't ideal when all the sides around you have a few games in hand. The league season in Portugal and what lineup works the best was tough to figure out. At some points, you got hot like how the side did in November, winning all their matches including 3 league wins. That saw Peter Musa score 3 and get 2 goals in the Taça de Portugal victory against the 2nd division Portuguese side after extra time. December in the league was once again cold. These inconsistent performances can be best compared to one of our players, Rozo the Bozo. Jackson Perozo is a promising Ecuadorian left-footed center back with a couple flaws. He can have great performances as he'd showcase across the campaign, but he'd also have his moments where he'd look like a complete bozo. 5 league games in December, and a win versus Belenenses was the only positive. Granted, Porto and Sporting were 2 of those losses, but losing the Twitch derby again was too much. Something needed to happen in January. That something was the outs amounting to over 500k. Did anyone get signed with that? Not permanently, because of the uncertainty that Gerard Lopez would give the club at the end of the season. However, there was one loan.
Oui, bien sûr.
Looking back personally, Football Manager 2014 was my first ever FM game, and my first successful save was with Newcastle. Ben Arfa was an absolute baller for me in that save, along with Chroo and Luke de Jong. Unfortunately, that save got corrupted, but the memories still live on. 8 FMs later, Ben Arfa has seen some better days, but he added more depth to the shadow striker role. In the month, the results were back to hot as Vizela were defeated 3-0, Jorge Jesus' Estoril were defeated in the Taça de Portugal, Tondela was unfortunately a draw. But Benfica at home? But here we go, Gustavo Sawyer. Far post. Let's go! What is that keeping by the Greek man? They've not had a shot on target so far. Very nice, very nice. Oh, Hamache whips it in. Musa guarantees the win. Clearly, these 2 guys were the best players, as Musa became the 3rd top scorer in the league with 19 goals and over 30 in all competitions, while Gustavo Sawyer had 9 to go along with his 11 assists. The excitement wasn't done yet, because the Allianz Cup was more than some preseason tournament that Spurs won years ago.
I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good lord.
Instead, it's more comparable to England's Carabao Cup, but it's a unique competition. The 4 biggest Portuguese sides are in each of the groups, with the expectations of them making the semi-finals. Porto was the mentioned big team opponent, following a Gil Vicente victory, so this would determine who would go through. 9 days prior though, there was a dress rehearsal. It was in the league, and with Boavista also being in the city of Porto, we got ourselves a fierce local matchup called the Invicta Derby. From what I could gather, Boavista haven't defeated Porto since 2007. That wouldn't change in the league match, as despite fighting hard to come back from a 2-0 deficit with Gustavo Sawyer and Portoloni Vasco Sosa scoring, an 86-minute Evan Nielsen goal would seal the fate for now. Because in the Allianz Cup, Musa would score first, but Danny Loader would equalize. Had some inconsistent performances, but oh wait, Musa, oh my gosh! Perozo! No way! The bozo is not a bozo today! Jackson Perozo with the strike of the century! Oh, Makuta's found. Let's go! Sporting Clube de Portugal would face the same fate as Porto. Despite Tondela losing to Estoril, they defeated Sporting and finished first on goal difference. They'd be our semi-final opponents, but with a solid backline performance and unexpected goals coming from our defenders, final awaited. The final was staged at the Estadio Municipal de Leiria, which the club União de Leiria plays in. A matchup with Benfica was obviously difficult, however, Musa would step up first. We got a free kick, Hamache. Musa! Unfortunately, Gonzalo Ramos would equalize 8 minutes after halftime, and with extra time not existing in this competition, penalties separated the sides from a trophy. Let's get it started. Pino first. He scores. Musa, our target man, our goal scorer.
Denied.
Mario. Oh, how did you not save that? Gustavo now. He scores his. Rafa up next. He stopped! Okay, we're still alive. Nathan now. Nathan. Can he make it equal? Nate!
What are you doing?
A goal will seal the victory for Benfica. Disappointment. Inconsistency in the campaign led to an 8th place finish. The hot and cold months were a real thing. February and March sucked. Then April was a recovery, with all wins except against Sporting. Then the last 2 matches of the season against Porto and Belenenses were L's. It's pretty easy to explain the inconsistency though when you have Ben Arfa at the club with this type of form. What can you expect? Nevertheless, there's a reason that the Taça de Portugal was left for last, leaving off after an Estoril victory which had Boavista's player of the season Thiago Olori, bet you didn't expect to hear that, Sporting fans, being part of the goals. It was a match won in extra time, leading to a 2-legged affair with Belenenses, the sad version. This isn't the Belenenses that was once competitive in Portugal. No, that one was in the 4th tier. This was the fraudulent version. If you look at the Wikipedia page, they were founded in 2018, and in the See Also section, you have Emkin Dons in there. The home tie was one-sided, not in the scoreline as Musa's penalty was the only goal, but heading into the second leg, the stadium must have had like by fans. Peter Musa stepped up once again with a brace, sending the club to another cup final. This time, a more glorious one. The Taça de Portugal hasn't been won by Boa Vista since 1997, and with no trophies for 22 years, this final will be special. Not because it was just a final, but because it would be a derby. The Invicta Derby in the Taça de Portugal final, which hasn't happened since May 24th, 1992. An incredible occasion for the fans, but a nervous time for the players. 0-0 at halftime isn't the most surprising thing, but what would be shocking is the refereeing. No! Referee, that is bullcrap! And Taremi scores it. What? A penal? What? Musa hit the post twice. There were good chances for the side. I even switched to this abomination of a formation, but with almost 10 to go, 2-0 down. There were a few players that controversially didn't start, including Vasco Sosa. He came on, and as the clock struck 80, Ben Arfa found him in a bunch of space to get one back. Sosa would then be influential once again. Oh, but we win it. Gustavo Sawyer. In behind to Vasco. Vasco. In behind to... Let's go! 2-2 in a matter of 2 minutes. Penal? The ref gives a penalty! There's justice in this world! Can he make it 3-2 for Boa Vista? No! Yes! Yes! We don't really have much we can do. Musa gets it back. Musa to Moraes. Thiago Moraes, the kid. Shimmies a little. Musa. He seals the deal. We have done it. We are Taça de Portugal winners. This is probably the best football manager game I've ever had. And we lift the trophy. We're going to the Europa League, boys. Not a bad start to everything.
Be champions.
So how does this make sense?
I'm a serial winner.
After Boa Vista defeated Porto in a historic Taça de Portugal final, Porto's board couldn't handle the embarrassment and sacked Sergio Conceição. Conte coming in seemed out of the blue, and so did all these transfers. Origi, Wan-Bissaka, and Kostic, just to name a few. While at Boa Vista, a lot of business was done too. Musa and Bruno Rodriguez came in as permanent deals for a combined $5 million. That only occurred due to Albert Ellis leaving at the end of his loan, Reggie Cannon moving for $3.7 million to Swansea, added with Awaziem and Rocinho leaving for a combined $1.45 million. From then on, it was bargain hunting. Tobias Figueiredo on a free, Daniel Ruiz for $1 million, Guga for $250K, Eddie Ouattara for $235K, Vasco Sosa back on loan, only because he refused to sign permanently. Predrag Dragovic then was brought in for $550K, Veron Yukla materialized on a cheap loan, João Pedro, not this one, or that one.
How many of you are there?
The one from Porto arrived for $350K to back up Nathan. With the Europa League coming up along with the dreaded Winter World Cup year, a big squad was required. The first competitive fixture in the Allianz Cup came up against Mafra, a side with the likes of China, Tarzan, Andre Silva, Dida, and Patrick Vieira, if they had him at home. A simple 2-0 win brought some false confidence. Thanks to us winning the Taça de Portugal last season, that gave us a place in the Portuguese Supercut, or as they say it, Supertaça Candide de Oliveira. Makura's opener made it seem as if the side were in for a great campaign. That was until Rafa decided to show up with not just one, not just two, but 3 goals. Through this early period, some signings weren't made yet, such as Rajkovic and João Pedro. That meant the now 41-year-old Rafael Bracali had to start, and Nathan had to play all of these fixtures. It seemed fine as the Twitch chat derby with Santa Clara opened the league campaign. Several chances appeared, but despite having 2 expected goals, Santa Clara had a free kick late. What? They'd score again, and somehow won.
Absolute injustice.
Not much luck came against Jorge Jesus' Estoril, who scored late as well, giving another L to Boa Vista. Afterwards, Famalicão was a 0-0 draw, which by this point, Rajkovic arrived. Now to finally rest Nate, João Pedro started his first match versus Braga. We have a highlight off the rip here, not like this. Don't start the game like this. Offside. No way. No, what?
Red card.
You have 10 aggression! Why would you do that? Vitinha would score in the 59th minute, but adding to the misery, 3 subs were already made. Sebastian Perez, who's a hard-working midfielder, got injured, bringing the side down to 9. Then Bruno Rodriguez added to the pain by getting himself sent off. With 8 men on the pitch, who all wanted to go to their apartments, they conceded another to lose 3-0 at home. The final straw was losing to 2nd Division side Varzim in the Allianz Cup second phase. These poor results could be brought down to several issues. Numerous players joining the team needing time to adapt, some players tried to learn different roles, and losing the team's best player didn't help. Oh yeah, Let's mention Gustavo Sawyer, who had 20 goal contributions last campaign. He was on the final year of his deal. Sporting Clube de Portugal made an offer, and after the realization that a new contract cannot be afforded, he went on his way to Lisbon. An immediate replacement couldn't be found because the targets conveniently signed new contracts. That is why Eucla was loaned. To help ease some issues, Eduardo Quaresma and João Resende arrived on loan from the Lisbon clubs just for a 0-0 draw with Tondela. No wins since an Allianz Cup match in preseason, and that wasn't going to change when the damaged Park bus made its way to Sporting Stadium. Don't think that was supposed to happen. On deadline day, 3 signings were made. Wout Faes from Reims for $500,000, and he'd be playing as a ball-winning midfielder rather than a center back. Speaking of that role, Boavista's player of last season, Thiago Ilori, returned for $500K after refusing to pay what Sporting wanted earlier in the window. Finally, Tyrone Abuehi came in for $110K because the faith had been lost in João Pedro. Did the results improve with all these transfers? Kind of? Let's just not talk about the Taça de Portugal. Is this some sick joke?
To me personally, it's a very dark time.
As expected, 3-0 L's to both sides, with goals happening in the first half. I mean, Chroo believed there was a campaign against Boavista, but you can't complain about the bias against your team when you draw Molde 1-1. Granted, Molde somehow defeated Atletico Madrid on the first match day, but that's besides the point. Atletico's manager was of course Chroo's hero, Jose Mourinho. He absolutely threw the Porto-based club into the mud. The other Jose didn't respond well, but the special one would get his way in the reverse fixture. Outside of Europe, the results in the meantime were not fun. En route to defend the Taça de Portugal, a 3rd division side named Amora were drawn. A relatively strong side were playing, but the team performed like absolute dog water. You'd think there would be no shot that this team valued at millions would lose to a side not even valued at 1. Once again,
I prefer really not to speak.
the league results would see Tarzan and Co lose, along with João Resende getting 4 in a 5-2 drumming of Vitória de Guimarães. Then appeared Antonio Conte's Porto.
I prefer to kill him.
I could build this up as some epic encounter. In the Invicta Derby, Porto was desperate to get their revenge with an insane-looking bunch of players, but Boavista just got devoked. Divock Origi with a brace, and Taremi getting a 3rd in the 55th minute resulted in a 3-1 defeat. Portimonense would add more pain, leaving the club well off the European places, but the remaining Europa League matches included a win versus Molde and shocking Newcastle with a 1-0 victory. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to stay in Europe's secondary competition, but now it's time for a Conference League dreaming. Just doesn't hit the same. After a winter spent hearing it's coming home for the millionth time, England wouldn't do what the Lyonnesses did, and instead lost the World Cup final to France thanks to a 94th minute Olivier Giroud winner. Speaking of the greatest player since Pele, despite making it a tough match for Benfica, Giroud would get a goal and an assist to hand the checkered kids another poor result in the league. Thankfully, with the schedule becoming less hectic and knocked out of several competitions, the fixture list became manageable. Results in January had their ups and downs, but getting revenge over Santa Clara and Estoril were confidence boosters prior to Braga. Now you haven't heard or seen the name Peter Musa too often today. That's because at this point of the season, he had 2 goals. A shadow of his former self from the man who had 30 in all comps last year. His New Year's resolution of actually scoring goals weren't coming into fruition for the entirety of January, but that would soon change. With Abdel Ruiz and Thiago Moraes' goals cancelling each other out, up stepped Peter Musa. Rakovic now booting it up to Moose. No, it goes to the shortest man on the pitch. And he is playing a good give and go with Hamache. And Musa tucks it home. Incredible substitution, the Chroo way. He'd go on and score against Pax de Ferreira in a 1-1 draw and added a goal versus Tondela. Sporting were up next, and they'd get a new manager soon. Well, new, because their latest one, Rui Jorge, seemed awful at his job. Thiago Moraes and Peter Musa would each grab a goal in a 2-0 victory. By March, it'd be the end of him. Sporting, like Porto, sacked a highly respected manager at the end of last season. Jose Chroo saw this as an opportunity to take a step up, but he didn't even get an interview. March would roll by, Rui Jorge was sent away, and Sporting asked for an interview with the future special one. The interview seemed fantastic, which made the owner of Boavista, Gerard Lopez, a nervous man. He offered a contract, which led to nothing. However, without even realizing, Sporting hired Pedro Martins, and Chroo would eventually sign a new deal with Boavista. In the Conference League, thankfully it was a single elimination for the round of 32 and 16. I mentioned 16 because the round of 32 opponents were Servette, and they were defeated with relative ease. Galatasaray, on the other hand, I remember in like FIFA 14 or something. Ooh, speaking of Stefano Okaka, there's a goal from him. Good football here, good football. Moraes. Let's go! Thiago Moraes. Wing back or full back? Oh! Eunice, oh my gosh, that's a good ball. And he's gonna look for a Kaka. Mark the man! We're gonna go for it now. Okay, good ball. Come on, pass it to someone. Oh, Nate! What a strike! Come on, Eddie. Come on, Eddie. Pass it across. No cup competitions left. Nevertheless, a Conference League playoff spot was up for grabs with 10 matches left. Resende came up with a big goal versus Famalicão in a 1-0 victory. Vizela were smashed 5-1, while March ended with the fraud João Pedro, who was on loan at Gil Vicente, losing 2-0. Despite B-Tech Andre Silva scoring, the meme squad of Mafra couldn't handle Thiago Moraes, and Vitória de Guimarães were defeated 2-1. That was despite the side being down to 10 men with 60 to go. The late winner arrived from Peter Musa. His scoring form was off the charts and made it seem as if Sporting could get caught for fourth. Maybe that's a little optimistic, especially with Conte's Porto next. Incredible. How is Wan-Bissaka crossing that wall too? I'm too mad to even think of anything funny. Oh, I swear if Origi scores... How is he getting a hat-trick in 25 minutes? How is Demir out jumping my center back? Oh, and Origi again with 4! An embarrassment of a derby that had Porto destined to win the title. The challenge for Boavista wasn't going to end yet with Benfica right after. The plan was to frustrate the Lisbon club, and that was working for the longest time. Oh gosh. Come on, no. Never mind. The good thing was that Benfica was ahead of Porto. However, they played Sporting and drew 0-0, giving Antonio Conte a chance to surpass them. All that was needed was for wins across the board, but against Belenenses, the sad version, they blew it with a 0-0 draw. Benfica would go on to win the championship again, while Chelsea supporters on Twitter began the clowning of Conte. Meanwhile, Boavista finished in 5th, and nothing would go wrong for Chroo.
I prefer really not to speak.
This won't be forgotten. Despite the challenges from the board, the eliminations from all cup competitions, including the embarrassment in the Taça de Portugal again, the 3rd season for Chroo was
Fantastic.
undefeated 8 match days in, including 7 clean sheets. Everything was going Boavista's way, and the opposite would be true with city rivals. Porto were a disaster, and despite a successful time in the cup so far, Conte's men were well off it. Antonio was beginning to go bald for a second time as teams celebrated successful result after successful result. He already got sacked by Spurs, and on a chilled November 13th, Conte will be sacked in the morning. On paper, they have the best team in Portugal, so with the job available, Chroo decided to toss in an application. Of course, applying for the job would be controversial, but there'd be no way Porto were going to conduct an interview. Well, there's no way they'd want to hire a city rival who defeated them in a cup final a year and a half prior. Normally, I like to stay with a club for an entire stint. If I was the manager, rejecting this would be simple. However, this is Jose Chroo's story. A man with no loyalties and a guy who has Mourinho's posters plastered across his walls. Of course he joined Porto. He's got the ambition to win a Champions League title within 8 seasons to match the ambition of his idol. Yeah, he might piss off a loyal fan base who absolutely adored him. He might need to hire some security, but the game is the game.
What game?
I am Jose Mourinho.
With Antonio Conte building the best side in Portuguese football, he couldn't do anything in the league or Europe. That's where Jose Chroo comes in to finally get his big opportunity and bring back European glory to Portugal. Porto to be specific, and with them in 6th and at risk of missing the Champions League knockouts, it wasn't going to be an easy start. Tactics-wise, it was similar to Boavista, but instead of 2 attacking midfielders, it'd be 2 wingers. The first starting 11 ever for my Porto side involved Lafont in goal, Doria as the strongest of the 3 center-backs, Kostic and Wan-Bissaka as wing-backs, Vitinha paired with Sergio Oliveira, combined with Divock Origi and Yusuf Demir on the wings. Spearing the team out top was, of course, Alvaro Morata. I have to be thankful that Conte could attract some great players, but now he'll have to do that at West Ham.
He doesn't want to see the bad situation.
For a debut, it was simple since Sporting is down terribly. 3-0 by halftime thanks to a Morata brace and a Demir goal. The latter was a pleasant surprise as I don't like getting players I've already used in FM already. However, Conte bought him, so we'll go with it. After the Sporting fixture, a must-win followed with Pep Guardiola's Juventus. A win would have us advancing, while a draw or a loss, depending on Monaco's result, could kick us to the Europa League. Thankfully, Yusuf Demir took advantage of Castagne's questionable defending. Let's speak about Wan-Bissaka's crossing ability. Well, I'm not sure what he learned in Portugal, but he's clearly better than Trent.
Nah.
Vlahovic would get one back, but Wan-Bissaka stepped up once again and found Morata to score against one of his many former teams. Chiesa would make it nerve-wracking, but Porto would return to the knockout stages. The rest of the Primeira Liga matches in December were all dubs. Nothing was going to stop this team. Work was still needed to be done in January, and that included the return of the disgraced one, Juninho's return to Boa Vista. Thiago Moraes, though. Alright, good ball. Never mind, not a good ball. Pros of the bozos there. Oh my gosh! Rajkovic is the bozo. Morata gets a gift of a goal. And now we have a corner kick. Fabio Vieira up to take it. And it's a penal. Penal. With the transfer window open, the board gave 33 million to make signings. There are several players I will get rid of in the future, but in this period, it was just Danny Loader, Galeno, and Jonas Wind. Many loans went out too, but 4 players came in. Let's first talk about the loan of Leonidas Stargiu from Chelsea. Less than half of his wages had to be covered, and no extra monthly fees. He would become the starter in the middle of the defense. Timothy Pembele came in for 17.75 million as Wan-Bissaka's backup, and to solidify the defensive line, Joe Gomez arrived.
Fair play, lads.
The cost was 40 million with some bonuses. We used installments to make these possible. The final transfer is one that may be harder to make in future FMs, Benjamin Šeško. I've never used him, and for some reason, he was still at Salzburg in 2024 with a cheap release fee. The results speak for themselves with 3 clean sheets in the Liga Portugal prior to Benfica. The 2 biggest sides in Portugal in a match called the O Clásico Derby. Although that's the same name with Sporting as well. Nevertheless, titles have been lost in games between the two, with the most notable in my limited opinion back in 2013, where Kelvin's goal in added time allowed Porto to hop above Benfica, where they would win the league undefeated. It's not that serious yet, as Benfica got dismantled 3-0 with Demir getting a brace by the end and Šeško coming off the bench to score on his debut. Demir would continue his greatness with a goal versus Sporting in the Allianz Cup semi-final. Morata would help too, which means another cup final for Juninho. A thing I didn't mention about this cup from the Boa Vista days was that 221 Portuguese players have to start the game. The 2 best ones we had were sent on loan, so in the final versus Benfica, bloody Lola Bunny and Portuguese Candy had to start. Benfica's were more competent as they had this center back, and I think Bernardo was the second guy. Nevertheless, it was tense. Oh shoot, we're on. Shoot! Well, I forgot we were on only commentary. 1-0 at halftime, and why not sub off the under 21 players? As Benfica were putting in yet another pathetic performance, Verissimo would score in his own net, giving us the trophy. Juninho would avenge the final defeat from years ago. It was also Porto's first ever time winning this trophy. With the boys still having hangovers 4 days later, the score was tied with Amorim's Vitória de Guimarães. However, we got a penalty. Romario. Why is Romario taking it? When Divock Origi's on the bench. We're in added time. They're wasting time. Incredible. Disgusting. And now we let Estupinian in behind. Thankfully, that was the last league defeat of the campaign. So, let's go to Europe. While this ain't 2004, you have to believe Inter were our points, and despite having a great team, they were struggling in Serie A. Plus, we had something that Mourinho's team back then didn't. Divock Origi! After the half though, Inter played some decent football and Dan and Doy tucked it home. 1-1 leaving the San Siro isn't bad, so in front of our home fans, Vergara, Kostic, to Demir. Yusuf Demir! This man is so short, but his heading ability is off the charts. 1-0 Porto 50 minutes in, 2-1 aggregate lead. Inter wouldn't get a sniff, leading to the quarterfinals. In the meantime, the league results were great with goals coming all over the place and then Taremi scoring a hat-trick against Santa Clara. After the Inter tie, we had a fixture versus Pax de Ferrer, which seemed like every other match. We built ourselves into title contenders and put ourselves into first place for the first time this season. A 12th-minute Oliveira goal made it seem like another ordinary day. Not so fast. Leduaran and Pablo Santos brought back sad pieces. However, we won a penalty tugged home by Sergio Oliveira, while Yusuf Demir cleaned up this mess to give us the lead with less than 30 to go. As the time was going by, they had a crucial chance. No! Oh my... No! Oh my... Alright, good. Good, hold it up. Oh, come on, Šeško, you gotta hold it up. I know there's no one around you, but come on. Can we not focus for 1 second? Come on. Oh. After thrashing Vizela, let's worry about Real Madrid. 100 points in La Liga, winners of the league for 3 straight years. If it wasn't ending here, it would likely end in the next round with PSG or Juventus being the semi-final opponents. But of course, that's if we win, which we didn't in the first leg at the Santiago Bernabeu. They were the stronger side, creating several chances, plus they had Robert Lewandowski. Florentino Perez's dream finally came true. Thankfully, Lafont and poor finishing kept this as a draw. A big bonus was Eder Militao getting sent off late, so he wouldn't be in the lineup with us at home. Plus, we were the first team to make Real Madrid not get a W for a very long time. But right now we're on the attack. Wan-Bissaka crosses it in. Morata back post. Kostic over the bar. Corner kick for Porto. Vitinha is stepping up. Morata! Alvaro Morata against one of his many former sides. Makes it 1-0. Porto. Gomez to Oliveira. He finds Yusuf Demir. Šeško in behind. Benjamin Šeško makes it 2-0. Porto. Right before halftime. Ancelotti's men were choking, but they'd find a way to fight and get one late. So we parked it and won. On to the Champions League semi-final. But it would be against PSG, and you know who they have. In between the Madrid fixture, there was Braga, who were also in this title race. The score was 1-1, which would give Benfica a likely free ride to the title. Oh no, this is a goal. This is a goal. This is a goal. Oh, it's a post. And we're heading to the 89th minute. Are we gonna win the ball? Can we create a chance? Romario to Vergara. Vergara to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka. Šeško! Thanks to a Taremi brace, we defeated Boavista 3-0, and let me give a quick shout out to him. He is aging, wasn't registered for the Champions League, and I did want to sell him in January. However, in the matches between the Champions League rounds, he absolutely destroyed these fools in Portugal. Despite only starting 8 times and 10 appearances off the bench, he ended up as a 3rd top scorer in the Primeira Liga with 19 goals, and he had the 2nd highest average rating. That included 4 versus Académico de Viseu in between the PSG tie. After Boavista though, Sporting were handled with. They did get another manager, Ricardo Sapinto, and according to my Sporting chatters on Twitch, this wasn't an ideal move. PSG though, a side with legends of the game like Messi and Neymar, featuring future legends of the sport like Haaland, Gavi, and Nuno Mensch. They also have Declan Rice. All of them versus this lineup of Premier League rejects. We needed to prevent any runs going in behind our back line. Well, not if Neymar is getting on a one-on-one there. Joe, why are you tackling him? Haaland would make a 1, and they're playing around us so easily. To prevent them from having a midfield advantage, I dropped Amir from winger to central midfield, although they created a chance after that, but so did we. At halftime, I took Morata from a left inside forward to a pressing forward up front. 15 minutes into the second half, along with changes in instructions, I took off Demir for Romario Barro and gave him the box-to-box role. Here we go. This is a good set of play. Romario. Let's go! Romario Barro from Wan-Bissaka, 1-1. Divock Origi was brought on to seal a 1-1 draw, going to the home tie. This 5-3-2 system was a discovery that proved crucial. It prevented PSG from creating strong chances, except this in the last second. Yes, I got lucky. However, it needed to be used at home. So, can we bring back the memories of 2004? An odd thing that PSG did was play center backs at fullback and Declan Rice at center back. And they scored first with a Marquinhos cross. Okay, Doria to Sergio, Vitinha, Morata. Morata. Alvaro Morata! What a chip! The man with 10 composure. That's a lie. In the Champions League, it's 20. Declan Rice, overrated. Declan Rice on a yellow card. Sergio to Joe Gomez, off the post. Oh, Declan Rice with a missed header. To, oh, Šeško, so close. Declan Rice almost messes up again. Why did you not tackle the ball from Firmino there? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Free, oh no, top of the box free kick from Lionel Messi of all people. Less than 10 to go, and chasing the game was required. Now, I noticed PSG were playing this guy in their defense, so I had a plan to target the ball to that area. There we go, that's what we want. That's exactly what I tried to play there. Yusuf Demir. Let's go! Yusuf Demir! Highlight off the kickoff, oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Messi, Ankara Messi. Damn it, off the kickoff. I couldn't even make a change right away there. Something, please. Something, wow. Oh my gosh, last minute highlight. Win that, please. Thank you. Šeško, please. gotta change the tactic before celebrating. This went all the way to penalties, and with Messi injured before the shootout, it was either good or bad depending on your perspective. It's in FM's hands from here. Holland. He stopped! Holland has stopped! Morata to prove the doubters wrong. He scores! Frank the Tank and Sangali scored theirs, but Declan Rice had to move positions because he couldn't handle Morata. He stopped! Šeško now to give us a 3-1 lead. He tucked it home. Firmino tucked his home, but with Kostic stepping up, he started! Let's go! Porto were going to face Liverpool at Wembley. Before getting to that, the league campaign required Benfica to drop points once, but into the last game of the season, they still had the lead. We were dealing with Porto Monense quite easily, while in Lisbon, 0-0 late. Although, in the 71st minute, Chavez took the lead. Benfica did equalize soon after, but that would be enough. I can accept that, as long as we win the Champions League. Like stated earlier, Mourinho won it in 2004, where they defeated Manchester United, Lyon, Deportivo La Coruña, and then Monaco in the final. A different time, but with all this talk about only 5 or so clubs nowadays having a chance at Europe's elite prize, Chroo's side were ready to make the impossible a reality. Again, with his Liverpool side, it's a tough match 10 times out of 10, and as expected, the battle was tense. They had a header cleared off the line and a free kick from 30 yards out, which never goes in. No way! Chasing everything played into their hands, and we left Wembley disappointed.
It's over.
Forget Messi, Ronaldo who? And don't even bring Lewandowski into this conversation. The FM GOAT is Benjamin Šeško. Well, according to everyone, besides like 2 guys. Nevertheless, he had a great start with us last season, and more of the same continued. Not only did Benjamin finish with an 8.0 rating in the league with 26 goals from 23 appearances, but he also won the world's under-21 player of the year. He was pretty good. But is that enough to finally win the Premier Liga and end Benfica's years of dominance? Maybe more importantly, can we avenge our Champions League final defeat from the previous campaign? That one had a few more steps since Portugal's coefficient went down prior to our outstanding run in Europe. So finishing second last year meant the second best club in Europe had to start in the 3rd round qualifying.
Do you know who I am?
I have absolutely no idea.
Genk were defeated over 2 legs, which led to the playoff round versus Rangers. A simple match since their domestic competition wasn't loaded and we barely qualified. Getting to this point led to a lot of changes. Conte's Porto was inherited by Chroo, so with the likes of Yusuf Demir, João Mario, Frabotta, Taremi, Grujic, and Sagnali leaving for a combined 100 million plus, imagine the shape this team would take. Raul Asensio to replace Taremi, Kim Min-jae to become the center of our back 3, Borna Sosa to rotate at left wing back, a couple depth options such as Jakic and Samir. However, in order to win this Champions League, we needed to go big. Completing the trident of incredible center backs, Gabriel Magalhaes arrived for 44 million. Finally, in the midfield, Maxence Caqueret arrived from Lyon. With this lineup, the side seemed to be improved, and everything felt justified with a win in the Liga Portugal opener versus Benfica. As the transfer window was closing, victories against Estoril and Tondela occurred. But we had one problem, a Brazilian named Doria. He wanted a new contract, but despite him helping us to the Champions League final, I saw him more as a squad player. That wasn't enough for him, so he caused an incredible storm, bringing in team leaders who were pissed about him complaining, so they complained to me, and Chroo knows about his hero Jose losing his dressing room, so selling Doria to Villarreal was the only option. With him desperately seeking to leave, him and his dumb agent decided, let's wait until after transfer deadline day to sign that contract.
You stupid or what?
He wasn't registered for the Champions League, but I guess I could use him in the Portuguese competitions, which we did in a 3-0 victory over Chavez. Let's start with Barcelona. Their side in 2024 looked a little past it, but we somehow let Ferran Torres win a header at the far post, losing at the Camp Nou 1-0. Following that tough match against the runners-up of La Liga, the winners of Serie A barged into our stadium and scored first because once again, the opposition's right winger wasn't marked. We then went and missed a chance from a corner ourselves, while Milan scored theirs, Tomori unmarked 29 minutes in. Thankfully, off the kickoff, Conceição added one back, but to add another wrench into this, a passionate halftime speech subsequently led to an AC Milan penalty as Wan-Bissaka decided to use his 20 tackling to great use. Teo Hernandez, get stopped, thank you Lafont. At least we have somebody that can play football. Corner kick, oh my gosh, you're so lucky. We are so lucky. Not an ideal result at home, but based on what happened, I'll take it. Back-to-back matches with Galatasaray were upon us, and 6 points were expected. In the reverse fixture, they scored first in the 61st minute. Šeško would then immediately respond, and then with less than 15 to go,
Pull it, take it quickly, Origi! Unbelievable!
4 matches through with everything up for grabs, but it was going to be a difficult task playing Milan at the San Siro. I mean, this is looking a little promising, this attack. Wan-Bissaka to Sergej Conce. Let's go! The Portuguese Messi. I've always believed in you, Morata. Let's go! Oh, there we... Šeško! Yes! What the hell happened to them? A draw at the Estadio de Dragó versus Barcelona would be enough to go through, but with Morata scoring early, we're top of Group H. I mean, it is fun. Mickey Minjay! What are you doing? Second place it is. For the round of 16, it would be Real Madrid. In the league campaign, it was all relatively calm. There were a couple draws, including Firenze. They were winning 3-2 thanks to 3 goals in 15 minutes. Thankfully, Fabio Vieira came off the bench and got a 91st minute equalizer. After 17 matches, the club were first place by 4 points, undefeated with 3 draws. Not even the supposed tough matches of Braga and Sporting were causing any troubles. But the Taça de Portugal...
Oh boy, my favorite seat. Uh-oh, excuse me, do you mind?
Did your dad put a curse on me or something? Nevertheless, another January arrived. Another Santa Clara beatdown occurred, some new gens got signed, and Benfica were up on the 5th. A win would put us 7 points clear, but Adnan Januzaj, yeah, that guy, decided to get on the scoreboard first. To say it nicely, our guys were playing like shit. Following an annoyed team talk, the side went out and allowed Januzaj to score an absolute belter. It looked like our undefeated campaign was over, and that Benfica would crawl up to 1 point within us. Sosa, cross in, Šeško, let's go. There's one. Come on, let's get something here. Let's not lose to these frauds from Lisbon. No. Oh wait, last minute highlight. I mean, we're still gonna lose the prediction, but we could still get a draw from this game. Despite keeping our lead safe and getting a couple wins in the month, a draw versus Tondela brought the gap down to 2. Then, there was the Allianz Cup. We won it last season and made another final after winning the group and defeating Braga. Of course, Portuguese Candy played along with a new gen from the academy as 2 under-21 players had to start. In the final versus Benfica, we ran into a problem. For some reason, the U sides all played on the same day as this final, which meant no one was available. What does FM do in this case? Well, if you quick pick, they add something called grayed out players. You might see players like these when you play against a club that don't have their league loaded. They usually match the club's reputation, and I'm sure there's more to it. However, in our case, it gave us some absolute garbage. And I don't mind calling them that because they're not real. Benfica, on the other hand, had players like João Tome available, and the other option, Diogo Spencer, wasn't the worst. Although, they subbed him off at halftime, while we did the same with one of our grayed out players. Why not both? Because this useless player was doing better than Kakare. Moving on, nothing was happening in the match, but the final 10 minutes provided scenes of pandemonium. Oh no. Oh, that's not good. Their under 21 player got the assist. Crap. Crap indeed. Hey, come on. That's an incredible ball. Holy, are you... Joel, what are you doing? Is that even Joel? Despite getting a goal back, they'd get a third and lift the trophy, which I could care less to see. Last season's Champions League was a run of a lifetime, so let's do it again. Real Madrid wasn't the easiest of opponents, and some stuff went our way in the previous encounter. One problem. I went through these 2 matches quite quickly, and by that, I mean I holidayed over them since they were simple matches on paper. The matches were won, but it was a horrendous judgment on my part to end the holiday a day before Madrid. That's because my better players started in the league, and I didn't get the opportunity to rest them. So there was some rotation and a couple tired players in the upcoming 11. At least it was at home, and despite Madrid creating a strong chance, Lafont was keeping the net safe. We nearly got the opener in the 56th minute, but 10 minutes later, oh no, now they have a free kick. As if this guy sucks. Thankfully, we equalized soon after. Unfortunately, Madrid would find Valverde in behind, and despite having tight marking on him, I guess the guy marking him didn't have a high number in that attribute, allowing Valverde to get free and giving Madrid back the lead. It would only get worse from there, as being desperate to not lose this game caused me to get smacked in the face by not just Lewandowski in the 91st minute, but bloody Valverde again, giving Madrid a 4-1 advantage and being embarrassed tactically. I can't speak much about the second leg because despite hyping myself up, they scored first and only one goal came in response, eliminating last year's finalists in the round of 16. To end this on a positive note, the Primera Liga campaign was going swimmingly, a draw here or there, but wins for the most part. Sporting, Pax de Ferreira, and Santa Clara were swept through in April, and on matchday 30, we could clinch the title thanks to Benfica getting surprising losses in February and another versus Braga. Our game had us face off with the saddest club in Belenenses. Thanks to a Šeško brace and an Elori own goal, Porto were crowned champions. Everyone was pleased with this achievement, and I had to give a big thanks to Šeško. Wait, who's interested in you? Oh crap! I'll worry about that another time. With wins against Nacional and a different sad team, we played Portimonense on the final day. The importance of this occasion was clinching an undefeated season, which has been done by Porto twice in the 2010s. We were playing our affiliate club, and even though they had a great campaign, I wasn't worried. Although, a couple of youngsters started, and the visitors scored first. After 2 Morata offside goals, subs like Šeško came on at halftime, which brought the game back 2-1 with a whole half remaining. Oh. Piss off, FM. Last game of the season? Really? Brilliant. The Club World Cup, arguably the most prestigious football tournament out there.
Are you joking?
Okay, maybe from a European club perspective that hasn't been the case for a while, but for Porto manager Chroo, the moniker of world champions would make him champion of champions. With this tournament in South Korea, there were 24 clubs from all the continents. These 8 European sides, including us, 5 from Brazil, 1 from Argentina, 3 from Mexico, Sepahan from Iran, Wydad Casablanca of Morocco, Auckland City from New Zealand, Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia, Mamelodi Sundowns from South Africa, South Korea's Daegu FC, ES Sahel from Tunisia, and Al Jazeera from United Arab Emirates. We of course qualified due to making a Champions League final, and we ended up in a group with Corinthians and Cruz Azul. Corinthians were the last non-European team to win any format of this tournament, where they shocked Chelsea in 2012. Another thing that has to be considered is that the European teams finished their seasons over a month ago, while the majority, if not all the other sides, were in the middle of their campaigns. That meant they were match sharp, while we were not. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because we have Benjamin Šeško, who scored a hat-trick. Before we played Cruz Azul, Corinthians did face a Mexican side. Angel Romero scored first for La Maquina, but just before halftime, Ronnie equalized. However, Eric Lira of Cruz Azul, who looks like a quite solid midfielder, well, he lost his head. In the 65th minute, he got a yellow, but in the 81st, I don't know what the Corinthians players were saying, but he decided to take a stamp on the heels of Cantillo, which gave him a second yellow. To put more pain into the hearts of the, guess I'll use Los Celestes. It'd be Cantillo's cannon of a strike to put down Cruz Azul, who needed an emphatic win over us to advance. They got a red in the 10th minute. Our team was rotated as for some reason, the match was only 3 days after the Corinthians' victory. Nevertheless, it was routine with goals from Vergara, Origi, and Jakic. So that qualified us for the quarterfinals, which happened just 2 days later? And we're playing Bayern, who have the likes of Goretzka, Davies, Havertz, Sané, and oh yeah, guess who?
Project Mbappe.
Also, despite resting my team and having the best 11 not playing against Cruz Azul, everyone was still tired. We're in a rant session here because before the tournament starts, you have to register 23 players. But there was an international break going on for several of my players at the time. So I had 6 of my players not available until July 1st, while other young prospects that I didn't register were just sightseeing in Seoul. Plus, only 3 subs. Are you kidding me? I know this is a simulation of a FIFA event and they clearly don't care about players' health, but not allowing 5 subs in any event after the first season still confuses me whenever I play a new save. Fortunately, Bayern were in the same boat and had a tired team, but it was going to be a slog in what would be known as the Battle of Daegu. Mbappe nearly struck first, and Bayern were making this look more one-sided than a typical Bundesliga campaign. Oh, good block. Go in there, get their counter, goal. Šeško, what was that touch?
Yes, sir.
Vergara and Origi. Boot it up, come on, win that Šeško. Let's go, here we go. Origi. Let's go. Let's get the song. When in doubt, bring on Divock.
Help! Help! My leg!
Well, Šeško's injured, that's not good. It's time for Raúl. Oh gosh, how's Mbappe still got the energy? Oh no, not like this, Szoboszlai! Oh, fuck. Don't really have the players. Here we go, free kick, Sergio Oliveira. Let's go! 2-1! Turn everything back. Let's just hold off and hope the best for penalties. And maybe we can get some luck. Extra time kickoff? Huh? Yeah, everyone's gonna pass out? Can we get one sub? I think it's better to wait until someone gets injured. If they die, they die. This is what football schedule will look like in a couple of years. Yeah, you're right. Oh my, this isn't good. 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 What is your defending, Gabriel? I know you're tired and you're about to collapse, but when you're taught how to play football, you don't show the man the inside, especially on their strong foot. Okay, well, there goes one. To the guys that said you should wait until later. Yeah, you're not wrong. Vergara, interesting moves. Ah, the tease. To be fair, one of their players got injured as well. Oh, okay, Mbappe got injured. Here we go. This is our chance. Here we go. Club World Cup in Saudi Arabia. When? Probably next time. Oh, piss off. I don't know if there's anything else I can really do. However, it's not like this. Oh. All right, come on. Something here. What the f— Oh, I thought both the players like broke their legs. Injured.fm. Oh, now he's getting— Oh, he's just wasting time, ref. FIFA's got blood on their hands in this. Yeah, this game's over. This game is over.
Tired.
What is this? Oh, wow. Lafont, what the hell was that? Why are you kicking it out? I've never seen so few players on the bottom screen here. It's over. The misery is done. The misery is done. 4 players injured for both sides. I think this game can be classified as a crime against humanity. Chesko out for 4 weeks. Oliveira out for 3 weeks. Gabriel out for 3 weeks. Kim and Jae out. Oh my gosh, all these injuries. Very close game, dude. I know you must be disappointed. FIFA's tournament has been a disgrace to humanity. So that's us out. But there is a different underdog to keep an eye on in this tournament. After PSG defeated ES Sahel 12-0, I'm sure they easily expected to go through to the next round. However, in their final group match, they went down 2 goals versus Flamengo thanks to Bruno Henrique. Vlahovic brought one back in the last 10 minutes, which I'm sure made Flamengo fans nervous, but late in the match, they would win a penalty and Rene was slotted home. Despite Vlahovic immediately scoring afterwards, Flamengo from Brazil defeated PSG and were the only non-European side to advance. They'd also stunned Chelsea in the quarterfinal. Again, Bruno Henrique, who scored in the 74th minute. Clube de Regatas do Flamengo were founded in 1895 as a rowing club, but in modern times have become one of the richer and more successful Brazilian clubs. They won a variation of the Club World Cup before, the glorious Intercontinental Cup. That competition was between the South American and European champions. The victory occurred all the way back in 1981 and in front of 62,000 fans in Tokyo. With the likes of Zico, they defeated Liverpool, who of course won several European Cups in that era. The two sides also met in the 2019 Club World Cup, where Liverpool did get their revenge with a tight 1-0 victory thanks to Roberto Firmino in extra time. Now in 2025, it was time for this fixture once again as they met in the semi-final. As mentioned earlier, clubs like Flamengo are in the middle of their season and have players match sharp, which kept their players more fit compared to the Europeans. So why not attend the match? Early highlight, first minute for Flamengo maybe? Bruno Henrique? Oh my gosh! Bruno Henrique makes it 1-0. Less than 2 minutes on the clock. Sign him. You almost did it again. But Liverpool are still Liverpool. At the end of the day, they got a great team. But Hugo Souza with a save there. Oh, can they make it 2? Can Flamengo make it 2? Flamengo! 2-0 up on Liverpool. Incredible scenes. Brazil are in full samba mode. Jogo Bonito football has returned. Flamengo have done it. They're making the Club World Cup final. What a story this is, and while I massively detest this tournament, we're seeing a run of a lifetime by the side from Rio de Janeiro. With Chroo learning about the ways of Flamengo, who do use a similar formation by the way, it was off to Seoul for the final. Flamengo were facing off with Manchester City, who have all the recognizable faces, but they decide to sprinkle in Lautaro Martinez and Vinicius Jr. Allegri is their manager too, but despite a 3-day break in between matches, Man City should have been more rested, but I guess they were enjoying some Korean barbecue the night before. The final of the Club World Cup, who will be champions of the world. A highlight off the rip, Vinicius Jr. is starting. Oh, and behind! It's 1-0 Flamengo! Oh my gosh! Flamengo! What? Where did that come from? Oh my, Rene. Can they make it 2? That looks like a dive, but he learned from Neymar. It doesn't matter if you dive in the World Cup. You're gonna win the penalty anyways. Can they make it 2 within 7 minutes? Rene stepping up. He stopped, by the Brazilian Ederson. Oh, but they're playing possession very well here. Overlap from Rene. Oh, and Ederson with another big save. Oh no. Lautaro Martinez chips it. It's off the post. Rene though. Cross in. Bruno Henrique. He makes it 2-0. It's the stuff of dreams. And you can say, oh, they're match fit and all that. There's other Brazilian teams in this Club World Cup. They didn't get out of their group. They didn't beat PSG. Oh, but can City get one back? Ishak gets it in. He tucks it home. Hugo Souza will be regretting on not saving that. It's 2-1 now. 20 minutes to go. Oh, Bruno Henrique. Lazaro. Oh, Anderson, great save. City playing 10 men. They got an injury too. Oh, wow. All right, come on. Come on, Flamengo. Not like this. Not like this, Isak. What a save. Hugo Souza comes up clutch. Oh my. This is a wild final. Thiago Maia now. To Bruno Henrique. To Fernando. Oh, it's offside. They have done it. Flamengo, our Club World Cup champions. Holy, incredible scenes. They've beaten PSG, they've defeated Chelsea, they've defeated Liverpool, and now they've defeated Manchester City. I can't speak. Incredible. I need to meet this genius of a manager.
The process, you have a beginning, but you never end it. It's always keeping growing.
425k a week?
This is what we are looking for.
This guy, Chroo, he isn't much of a ghost believer or a superstitious guy, but former manager Sergio Conceição must have put some Portuguese spell on him. Not for the Liga Portugal, and I don't think the Champions League is cursed for not bloody Benfica.
Tell me you did not just say that.
But for the Taça de Portugal. Ever since we won that trophy with Boavista against Conceição's Porto, that led to his sacking, and from that point on, elimination after elimination. Whether with Boavista or Porto, getting past the 5th round has been impossible. All the losses have come from lower division sides too. But before worrying about going to a witch doctor to get rid of this curse, we need to talk about the transfers.
Here we go.
Over 200 million spent and sold. So what changed? In anticipation of Sesko potentially leaving, we signed Beto from Sevilla just in case, as they were a similar type of player. Jot came in from AC Milan for 25 million, as the hope was that he'd be brilliant on the wings. That did see Raul Asensio leaving to Olympiacos for 7 million, and sadly the great Divock Origi left for Chelsea. He was in his last year and wanted to leave. Defensively, Joe Gomez wanted out, and Newcastle paid 59 million for his return to England. Totally forgot he had a sell-on clause in his contract. We also saw Kim Min-jae leave for Juventus, as the guy constantly got angry whenever he played. To replace the two, Tommy Santiago from PSV arrived for just under 20 million, and we went big for Pascal Struijk, spending of course with installments a combined 69 million.
Nice.
In the midfield, Fabio Vieira and Vitinha both left for 40 and 69 million respectively. Replacing them was Andre Almeida as a depth option for 18.5 million, and João Palhinha from Tottenham at a price of 58 million. Sporting fans were pissed, and I'm sure Benfica fans were not pleased seeing Jot come as well. There were a lot of smaller deals, but would this side be able to win the Champions League? Oh, and overcome the Conceição curse? We'll begin with the latter, as not much happened to start the season. Every match was won from August and September, even the Supertaça Candido de Oliveira. Despite Santiago's debut involving him gifting a goal, Benjamin Sesko scored a brace to grab a 2-1 victory. Thankfully he stayed, but the guy still has a bunch of interest in him. For the Taça de Portugal, the 3rd round involved Moreirense from the 2nd division. In previous years, you could fault me for going too easy, but this time, I made sure to start a very strong team. The match went to extra time because for some reason our offense didn't want to do anything, but we missed chances while Kakare didn't feel like playing. With the clock ticking, it looked like another set of penalty kicks were upon us. However, Sergio Oliveira found Vergara, and with the slowest P roller of all time, the ball somehow found the back of the net. We survived, for now. Next up was a 3rd division club named Leixões. Despite them being 2 tiers below us, I wasn't risking anything and basically played my best 11 against guys who might actually be part-time farmers. They were destroyed 5-0, with Morata and Conceição doing well. I keep forgetting you're the son of this man. The 5th round was next, and our opponents, Benfica. That would happen in late December, so in the meantime, a lot happened. Thanks to us winning the Portuguese League, Porto were placed in Pot 1 and would face AC Milan, again, Villarreal, and Marseille. No easy teams, and it would start with a Rossoneri. If they could be defeated, then this group would be manageable. Oh, Mike Maignan with a rare mistake. It wasn't the Italian club's day, as the second was scored by the new gen Nelson Sanch, and Porto left the San Siro with 3 points. Marseille afterwards continued the tradition their IRL team does in the Champions League. lose. The brace from Šeško and Santiago actually putting the ball into the correct net. The back-to-back fixtures with Villarreal saw 2 goal leads in both, a Šeško hat-trick in the first and another goal at the Yellow Submarine's home along with a Morata pen. We were through, and despite Santiago scoring another own goal, Beto and Romario Barro's strikes were enough to get the 3 points versus Marseille. Final match day would have AC Milan drawing us, which was fine. First place and the round of 16 opponents would be in. Focusing onto the league campaign, the perfect run lasted for 7 matches, as when the former meme squad of Mafra welcomed us into their homes, their keeper was pretty good and nothing went into the nets. There wasn't going to be an undefeated season either, as Benfica on match day 9 had Luis Dunk of all people, and he smashed in a header to get the only goal. Things were not helped when Painha decided to get one of his 3 red cards this season, and overall, the boys didn't show up. There were a lot of good results heading into the new year, with a Šeško brace versus Braga and another Painha red card against B-side being the highlights. However, our rivals Boavista drew us 0-0, and Maritimo, who finished in 16th, stunned our roasted side. Despite those results, we had a 1-point lead above Benfica after 18 match days. In our 5th round Taça de Portugal encounter with them, it was at their home. I did everything I could to reverse this curse. Witch doctors, crystals, taking a salt bath, casting a simple candle spell. Okay, what the hell is this? Unfortunately, Zagadu's header off a corner opened everything up. At halftime, many changes were made. They scored immediately into the half. Šeško got one back, but for some reason, the guys couldn't defend anything that went behind them. Moussa Dembele would take advantage, and Julian Brandt added to the misery. The curse is still real. Winter afterwards then became a success. Wins all across January, including the Allianz Cup semi-final versus Braga. Going into the final, it was Sporting. The club known as being part of the Big Three, they've been pretty crap, never finishing in the top 3 in this save. They also have Ricardo Sapinto as manager, who's more known for his raging meltdowns rather than his managing ability. Great hair though. Nevertheless, Beto scored first from a penalty, and it seemed like it would be smooth sailing. If we concede here, this is a concern. There's only one man who can save the day. Alvaro Morata on for Nelsh. Corner kick for us though. Can we get one back? Off the bar, are you kidding me? Oh no. Oh! Let's go! It goes to penalties if we don't win it here. Let me go attacking last few minutes. Wan-Bissaka with the throw in. Jot. Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka whips it in. Beto.
Alvaro Morata.
He has done it! Alvaro Morata! And we win the Allianz Cup, the most prestigious cup in Portugal. There was some business done in January because with Vergara sold, there was 16 million in the bank. And who would be better value for that than Antony from Ajax? 59 million release fee, 100k a week contract, and he signed a contract literally an hour after our offer. Someone was needed. And like a wise man once said, every team needs a Woo. So we got Woo Young.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled.
From the Club World Cup video, you might ask about the world champion Bruno Henrique. Unfortunately, the board cancelled our 20 million offer for him, and he rejected a loan. Inter in the round of 16, and this first leg was a game of margins. Legit, Inter had 3 goals, but they were all offside. Despite missing Struijk and Borna Sosa to injuries, we were able to get away from the San Siro with a 0-0 draw. They'd regret it, as Mr. Champions League Alvaro Morata never has 2 stinkers in a row. Beto would grab a brace for himself, and we took another step towards becoming Europe's elite. Unfortunately, the results in the Primeira Liga weren't perfect around this time. Chavez and Braga both drew us, but thankfully, Benfica were not at their best as they had a terrible February to go along with a Bayern elimination. Before stepping into the UCL quarterfinals, we had our fixture with the Lisbon club. With a 5-point lead, I was willing to risk it and completely rotate my side. There were not many key highlights, but a penalty scored by Sergio Oliveira looked to be enough. Until
Julian Brandt
fluffed his shot. An 8-point lead with 6 fixtures to go. I don't mind revealing that we won the league with 2 match days left. Plus, former side Boavista got 4th, which shows the impact Chroo has, even when he isn't there.
I'm fantastic.
The Champions League wasn't going to be easy because all the teams left were world beaters. Just choose your poison. Except we didn't have the choice since Man City were drawn. Led by Vincent Kompany, the club is relatively unchanged from the start. Just add Lucas Hernandez, Victor Osimhen, Lautaro Martinez, and Vinicius Jr. Yeah, they ended up winning the Premier League. But can it be done? Oh! Oh! Kakare from 25 yards? Bang! Kompany seemed frustrated, so why not let them score from a corner? My biggest weakness is always forgetting to set up defensive set pieces. We had a light tease at the start of the second half, but but Chesco was well off. Any hope of a positive result was lost from there. Bernardo Silva in a false 9-like role caused massive headaches to our 3 center backs. He dropped deep to receive the ball, so Gabriel closed him down, but for some reason, despite at least having a 2-meter edge, our center backs got outrun by Lautaro. To be fair, it was a good finish. Okay, maybe this is good. Beto, wait, no, the teases. No, not again. What the f? The problem with this match was Stroy coming back from injury. I guess he wasn't fully match sharp, but I think the biggest problem was
Alvaro Morata.
he's leaving at the end of the season to Shakhtar on a free after asking for too much money. Still, for us, he was Mr. Champions League, but before Benfica, he got injured for basically 2 months, meaning he missed his tie with City. That caused me to push the inside forward into a pressing forward, but that just led me to be all over the place tactically, not really knowing what to do after going down 3-1. I tried not to concede another, but Vinicius Jr. scored, making it mission impossible at home. Still, I had to believe until Victor Osimhen stepped onto the pitch. So frustrating. What the sh? I swear if I see any A2 jokes. Kinda like Inter in real life, the longer Antonio Conte has been gone, the more different the side becomes, and the positives it had years ago seem to be fading away despite what money was spent. Or Manchester City are insane because they smashed Bayern 4-0 in the final.
Hold on a second.
The contract of Chroo was running out, so there was a consideration on leaving Porto through this agony. However, while on a holiday, the Porto board fabricated Chroo's signature, and a contract extension was announced. I don't know what happened, but because of that, we'll give the Champions League one more go. The original goal was to win it with a Portuguese side within 8 seasons, but that's changing to 6. If it can't be won by then, Chroo has failed on his ambition. League titles and a couple Allianz Cups are nice. Let's please ignore the Taça de Portugal.
I prefer really not to speak.
Although, even that was won in the most dramatic fashions once. However, in order for Chroo to live up to his idol Jose, he needs to win it. Mourinho was only a manager in Portugal for less than 4 years. Chroo has almost been at Porto for the same amount of time. So if it's not happening now, when will it? The team hasn't changed much, as Chesco was forced to stay despite the club receiving an offer valued over 90 million. There were also deals presented for Beto, Gabriel, Wan-Bissaka, and others. But we were able to keep them, and most stayed happy. Even Chesco. Still wouldn't sign a new contract though. The players that did leave were Alvaro Morata and Sergio Oliveira on free transfers. Phil Costas set his sights for Spal after becoming third choice, and 7.5 million was received for this new gen. On the ends,
Rafael Chroo
came in as a rotation option for central midfield. World-renowned chess player Magnus Carlsen arrived from Brøndby, and Marco Bulat followed for 40 million. The winger formation was thrown in the trash, and 3 narrow variations were used. In most matches, this attacking tactic was the choice, which meant guys like Conceição, Jota, and Wu Young had to play more centrally, either as a shadow striker or playing in the front too. Against teams similar to our level, we initially had this 3 central midfield version, but it proved to be the weakest of the tactics. Versus the sides we may struggle against, one of the guys dropped in as a defensive mid. That gotta be tested first against PSG. How are they in pot 2?
Yeah, that's how it is.
With Club Brugge and Olympiacos being the whipping boys, the 2 matches against the Parisians would determine who got the easier opponent. Starting on cautious to slow down Haaland and Sancho, Jude Bellingham scored since nobody can actually defend once a set piece is cleared. Luckily, we won a penalty to find ourselves back in the game. It's your opportunity, man. A nice thing for us is Pochettino started some interesting players in the back line, which saw them getting XG'd in the first half. They even allowed Chesco to make up for the miss. Man scored 10 goals in the first 3 games, but can't score these. But there's still a lot of football to play. Beto, come on, man. Let's go. That's a real striker. That's a real striker there. Chances piled up in the second half, but sadly, none of them went in, which was such a disappointment with the context of everything and the shots missed. On the 5th match day, we faced them once again with wins on either side determining who finishes top. They scored immediately. Hakimi of all people. But Chesco dropped for Wu, and Korea nearly equalized right after. In the second half, I had to switch to a more attacking formation, which meant bringing on Conceição and Benjamin Chesco. Bulat's got on the ball. Chesco, come on, Chesco. Boom! Oh, what a ball. Yamin. Hakare. No. Yamin, come on. Let's go! Benjamin Chesco off the bench. First place in the group theoretically gets us an easier piss off. As expected, the start of the Portuguese section was simple. Supercut Candido de Oliveira, and trophies ours. The league matches were quite easy too. Points would be dropped, such as draws with Tondela and Forense during the first 11 matches. Regardless, the Allianz Cup seemed simple too, with a win in the first group stage match, while the Taça de Portugal we need to talk about Sergio Conceição. I've talked so much about his curse, it's starting to drive me insane. However, things weren't going well for him either. His job post-Porto was A-bar, which didn't bring much fulfillment in his life since he got sacked. He then decided to return to Portugal to become Benfica's manager. Benfica's B manager, which saw him get sacked months later. While this was happening, we won our third round matchup in the Voodoo Cup, with Conceição jobless and me trying every single thing to eradicate this curse. What better thing to do than bring in the man who started this? Sorry, Ricardo Carvalho, we're terminating your contract because our new assistant manager is Mr. Conceição. In his Taça de Portugal return, Porto smashed Paços de Ferreira 5-0, making it seem like we could overcome this nonsense. Unfortunately, that happened right after losing to Braga, which brought us to the winter slump. A loss to Alverca and a draw to Lusitania Lourosa in the league, then Sporting in the Allianz Cup. Thankfully, we didn't lose to Sapinto, who was sacked a while back. Following that, however, was a win versus UD Olorense in the league and somehow drawing Benfica 0-0 at home despite whipping their Thankfully, Benfica were already eliminated in the Taça de Portugal, so we wouldn't be facing them in the 5th round, but we would face off with Sporting.
Not again.
The previous match against them is where I stopped using this version of my formation. So away from home, we utilized the defensive variant. Chances were created, but still, no goals 30 minutes in. I should preface that there was no goals for us, because they scored off a corner kick. The chances we were creating just got squandered. All things considered, we were the better team, and in the 90th minute, my screen glitched. Oh, how did you miss that? It was time to sack this fraud. But the board refused. Training the next day was a little awkward. Another kick to the nuts was the start of January. After 19 match days, Braga managed to jump above us on head-to-head. They basically kicked Sporting from the big three, but their time in the sun didn't last long as they would soon drop points, and we would get comfortable wins until the Champions League. That included revenge on Sporting, and against Boavista, Mr. Red Card himself Painha was sent packing in the 33rd minute. Another 2-week fine. So, Real Madrid in the round of 16 again. They have a great squad, albeit with a few question marks. Milinkovic is good, but is he Real Madrid good? Plus, I've never heard of this Isaacson guy in my life. It also had to be Lewandowski's swan song with him at age 38 still busting La Liga's nets. We of course used a defensive variation of our formation, and things were calm until the 35th minute when Šeško got injured.
Oh my God!
It was time for Wu Young, who has been doing well at striker in the appearances he's had. Although he did miss what felt like over a month due to the Asian Cup, in which South Korea's side got smashed by Australia. 0-0 at the half despite a couple chances, but then came the kickoff. 46th minute. Kakrai finds Borna Sosa in behind to Young, the substitute. Let's go! Woo! Young Chung gets the goal right away, 1-0. Rafael Guerrero came on just prior to the 70th minute, and his impact was immediate. Oh, Guerrero finds Young. Guerrero! Oh, goal! No, it's his goal. Let's go. Assist by Young. Let's go. Two defensive mistakes by Real Madrid was costing them. So Painha decided to even it out by fouling someone off a corner and getting another red. With Lewandowski stepping up for the pen, Robert Lewandowski stepping up to get one back for Real Madrid. He stopped! Lafont, the boss! A 2-0 victory at the Bernabeu. In the second leg, despite no Šeško and Painha, things were chill, even with Lewandowski hitting the bar in the first half. Unfortunately, he eventually had to score one, which happened with 20 to go, but we were able to hold on and move to the quarterfinals. All things considered, we got a fairly even matchup as Borussia Dortmund were drawn. Third in the Bundesliga by some margin and managed by a Spaniard who, I will be honest, I have no idea who he is. With that into consideration, this seemed like it was the run. It would either be Barcelona or Juventus in the semi-final if we won, which compared to past seasons is a lot more favorable. However, Dortmund were going to be tough with a solid midfield including Gio Reyna, an incredible new gen right back, and a man on the FM22 Mount Rushmore, Moukoko, who in our save is out of this world. He scored first, and Borussia Dortmund were giving us a German football lesson. Don't worry though, we were able to witness the greatest goal in Champions League history. Ula. Great ball to Conceição, what a save by Kobel though.
What a head, son! What a head!
In the second half, I was using our attacking formation due to our performance, and it seemed like we were clawing our way back until Abdul Kabir Moore scored an absolute banger because for some reason in FM, marking the corner kick taker after the ball has been headed away rarely ever happens. It's all good though. We were at home in leg 2, and all that was needed was one goal. A chance came, then another, then another. Based on the stats, we are dominating by the half, although Dortmund came close too. With worries about Painha being on a yellow, he was subbed off. Confidence was still high though, and the performance showed it, especially Magnus Carlsen, who started because I wasn't feeling it with Beto. It's all good though, we got it back. Bulat to Carlsen. Oh my gosh. So many highlights were coming for us, but Dortmund were preventing anything clear cut until Šeško got in behind in the 72nd minute, where he for some reason passed it to Magnus in the worst position. Last 10 minutes, over 30 shots, 3 expected goals, yet nothing. I kept saying to myself that a goal had to be coming, and the ball finally found the back of the net. Borna Sosa was offside in the build-up, and Yusuf Moukoko would score in the 90th minute. 35 shots, 14 on target with 3.36 expected goals. In what world do we not at least get one? Oh, cheers for that goal with no time left. Chroo has failed. If he can't win the Champions League now, he's never going to win it. Maybe it's unrealistic expectations which had not been helped by making a final in the first season, but if a semi-final can't be reached in 3 straight attempts, when will it ever happen? In a distraught state, Chroo realized he was never going to be as good as his idol. His resignation was given, leaving Porto and never to be heard of again. At the end of the day, the more things changed, the more they stayed the same. And for Sergio Conceição, he reaped the benefits of that.